Hey there, thanks for joining me. This is episode 44 of the Positioning to Profit podcast. I appreciate you being here and checking out today's show with my friend Nikole Pearson, who is talking about how she had an idea that didn't resonate once upon a time. And when you are in an innovative space, there may be a chance that it's not well received. But here's the deal, with things changing the way that they are, turns out that idea that she had once upon a time is totally going to rock it out in her business. So some inspiration for you. I hope you enjoy the show as much as we have creating it, and here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of one status, then hang with me because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. All right, Nikole, welcome to the Positioning to Profit podcast show. I'm so happy to have you on the show. It is so good you're here.
Thanks so much, Patty. I'm so excited to be here.
I know. We were just kind of talking. Absolutely. We were just talking before the show about this stellar idea that you have, and I think it's so good. So you guys are in for a treat. But before we get started on Nikole dropping the goods, give us, Nikole, your 3-minute story about your background of how did you get to do what you're doing now?
Yeah. So let me warn everybody, we are government contractors, but don't leave. It's more exciting than that.
So exciting.
I know everybody hears government contractors and they just wait. I always lose people. But, I started my company, in 2007, January of 2007, as a technical writing and editing company. And my background had been in environmental world. I'd worked for the state of California, and I'd written environmental assessments. And so here I was trying to hang up my shingle thinking, what am I going to do from home? And so I started a technical writing editing company. We specialized in the environmental, engineering, and land use planning industries. I know it's not getting any more exciting, but I started my company, like I said, in 2007. We worked for a lot of environmental engineering companies. And as you remember, in 2008, things got a little bit rough. And in 2009 of October, our phone stopped ringing. Our clients disappeared. Many of our engineering clients who had offices full of 40 people, 50 people, had offices with 3 people. Massive layoffs, work was gone. And right at that time, we had probably 2 or 3 months before that, we'd gotten our first government contract. And I was a subcontractor to a friend of mine. Actually, she needed somebody to document meetings that she was facilitating. And we just by luck, we happened to get our first contract. And then we focused in that arena. And of course, during the recession, government contracting is somewhat recession-proof. Tax revenues typically fall a couple years behind. So the government will be operating on tax revenues from, the previous year or 2 years. So they tend to be a little bit, like I said, a little recession-proof. And then, of course, for us, there was the stimulus package. And a lot of people don't realize when they see that stimulus money is going to government agencies, they kind of get angry and freak out. But actually, a lot of that money goes to funding contracts with small businesses like mine. Mm. So we got a lot of work off of stimulus money during that time. So we ended up doing a lot of, like I said, government contracting. And then, one day it's, as you talk about positioning, right? One day sometimes you do it intentionally, or you just look up and you realize that you have positioned yourself as a government contractor. And it's for us, it's kind of slowly happened. And then the more we did it, the better we got at it. And then we ended up doing it more, So we now specialize in contracts with the Forest Service. Talk about specialty. We are really niche. We are Forest Service, and we do environmental assessments for them.
Brilliant. Okay. And I love the fact that when I met you, what was it, 2 years ago now or so, maybe like a year and a half ago. Yeah. And I heard what you did. I was like, wow, that's so niche down. Like it's super specific. And then just hearing how successful your business, I'm like, what? That's incredible. Like there is riches in the niches. But for the context of this show, I thought one of these ideas that you have, which I think is so smart, is because I think you're very entrepreneurial in the way that you kind of thought about this. There was a concept that you presented once upon a time that didn't fly. You know, it wasn't really well received. And that could be because of a lot of different things. Maybe there's resistance from the end user. It's not the right time. People don't get it. You're not articulating it correctly. It could be any number of things, right?
Yeah.
The deal is, though, with everything going on with this COVID situation on a global basis, you are looking at this once upon a time opportunity as something that is very viable now. So I love this topic. So here's where it gets really interesting. I mean, of course, all your other stuff was very interesting about your background, but talk about this opportunity, just kind of what sparked, because this is really good.
Yeah. So the idea actually came about 3 years ago. And you're right. As an entrepreneur, and many of your listeners will probably relate to this, I have no shortage of ideas, right? And sometimes it's reining them in, which is what my business partner, that's his job, is to like kind of cut me down, right? Like, rein me in. So there's never a shortage of ideas. So about 3 years ago, I had been hired to attend public meetings. So when the government does a project that impacts the public, they are legally obligated to collaborate with them, to let them know, to inform them, and to give them the opportunity to comment on the project, to express their concerns. And we were working on a project that was they were going to be cutting trees on a ski resort. So big impact to recreation. They were going to have to close some ski runs. They were, there was a lot of dead and dying trees, big fire hazard. And they were going to be taking trees down a road through town in logging trucks in a very nice neighborhood. So we really anticipated this being a contentious project, right? Impacting recreation and your neighborhood. Oh, and the logging truck was driving by a school. So we thought, this is really going to be good. So we better do some public meetings, a set of them. So we put them in the newspaper, on the website, we let people know. We had a whole staff of people there. They had hired me to come and sit at a table and collect public comments because they thought there would be a lot of them. We spent 3 hours there that night and 3 people showed up. So as I'm sitting at an empty table, thinking, there has to be a better way to do this. This is such a waste of our time and money. It's just not a waste. It needs to be done and it's important, but it wasn't the best use. So I thought, you know what, we can move these online. There's no reason we couldn't build a really interactive website that had maps and could show, interactive maps so people could see, here are the different alternatives, here are the different options. What do they really look like? A place where they could ask questions, leave comments, have comment letters go straight into the comment inbox so that the Forest Service was sure that they were receiving all the information. Because again, in these public meetings, you might have somebody talk to you personally, but if there's not somebody writing that down, so here's somebody who spent the time to come to a meeting at night, and then you didn't even capture what they're saying, right? So there's a lot of things a lot of places we could see needed improvement. Yeah. So we had this great idea. My business partner, Jay, is a software engineer. He can do a website. We can add all the bells and whistles. We thought this was amazing. And we took it to some of our clients, and they didn't love it. They didn't see it. Maybe they could see it, but this isn't how it was done. Right.
Well, I was going to say, can I stop here? Because this is a lesson for everybody. Is you have an idea and people weren't really resonating with it because they weren't seeing it as a real pain, right? There wasn't real pain behind what it is that you were presenting. It was opportunistic, but the risk of change was too great of a potential pain for them to move. Right. So that's in essence what happened, it sounds like.
Right. And it was interesting because I was maybe addressing a pain of their audience, but not their pain. Right.
Right.
And that didn't even occur to me at the time. I just saw that people aren't coming to your public meeting. To me, that's a pain point. To them, they were doing their part, putting on their public meeting. Their constituents not attending, that was a pain point of their constituents that they weren't really seeing. Right. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of resistance. They didn't know how it would work, if people would be, they didn't know if their constituents would like this any more than the public meetings, right? That's like you said, the risk. they were already doing something. Even if it wasn't working, it might be better than what we were proposing, right? Nobody really knew. And nobody wants to be that first, right? Nobody wants to be the person that steps on the ledge. And then if it doesn't work, then, you're the person that didn't work, right? So nobody wants to take that risk. So we just put it away. We thought, well, it's not the right time. That's okay. I have 100 other ideas. Let's just move on,
Mm-hmm.
and we put it away for about 3 years. And then this happened. And it's something that when you live in your bubble, you don't realize what's happening on the people outside of your bubble. So I've worked from home for years. So we've used video conferencing. We've all of our information stored on the cloud. We, all those things that now the rest of the world is suddenly waking up to and trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And all of our clients, all the government agencies, all their staff are working from home. They're all sequestered. They do have some ranger districts open, but they screen people coming in. You just don't have the access to them. The public doesn't have the access to these government staff like they used to. And this is not the time that you really want to, now is the time to increase your transparency. Now is the time to communicate more with your constituents. Everybody's frightened. Everybody's unsure. Nobody knows what's happening next. So you have to talk to them and tell them. And so doing projects now without including the public, first of all, you legally have to. But if you don't, it's just going to break down the trust that you do have.
Yeah.
So we have dusted off our product and said, you know what? Now is a great time to do these online.
So smart. And so I love that. I love the fact that you kind of put it on the shelf. Okay, that didn't work. And so 3 years later, here we are in this situation. And now looking back, you can see, okay, this is going to directly address an urgent need that they have. And so again, this is such a lesson for any of you that are listening, that maybe there is an idea that you had once upon a time that wasn't relevant, that you can activate and say, actually it is, and what you were talking about, your idea for your captive audience was really kind of ahead of its time, right? It was an idea that was ahead of its time. It wasn't really a need. And so really looking at that. So how are you going to roll this out from a marketing standpoint? Are you relying on your connections? So the networking. So a lot of people are wondering like, okay, how can I grow my business right now with everything going on? What are you really relying on in spite of everything going on right now with the economy and all this stuff and crashing, burning, et cetera, that we hear?
Right. So there's a couple of things, and hopefully I'll remember all of them. But the first thing is, I spent a couple days wallowing. Don't let me even kid you. I spiraled. That's what it was called. Not wallowing. It was full on spiraling. And okay, we're about halfway through with this episode, but I wanted to make sure that you knew about my new Positioning to Profit quiz so that you can discover how to use the key pillars of positioning to give yourself the ultimate edge for your business. It's an assessment, personalized plan of action to overcome these roadblocks that are keeping you from even more profit. So head on over to positioningquiz.com. All right, let's continue with the show. What's really helped me was, I don't really know, I don't remember how I thought to bring this back up other than, as an entrepreneur, you have to be doing something. You have to be working on something. And so this popped back up out of the back of my head from somewhere. And what's gotten me through is working on this every day and not thinking about will it sell or won't it sell, or just taking a step every day and having something that I'm hyper focused on, so that during my, I feel like there are a few times of the day when my life feels normal, when I'm sleeping. And then when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm engrossed in this project that I actually believe in. So that's another thing, is that at first I remember I hesitated to pull this back out because I felt like I was profiting off of something horrific, right? But that this isn't the time for me to make money. This isn't the time for me to pull out a new idea and try to sell to people. I really started at first, I hesitated. I thought, no, I'm just going to hunker down with everyone else. There are people losing their jobs. I can't be out there trying to make more money, right? But then I had to flip it around and say, wait a minute. My clients, who are people I've worked with for over 10 years and we've been through births and marriages and divorces and sick kids together. We've been through a lot together. I said, they still are trying to do their job.
Right.
The profit. I'm here to help them do their job. They have to do these somehow. So if we can offer them a solution
and that's exactly the key.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now I'm busy. I'm focused on getting stuff done. I have a big to-do list. I have deadlines that we've set for our team. And I'm doing it because I need to get it to them so they can keep doing their job. Right.
And if I may, I was just going to say, it's a really important point, is that it's just a reframe. You and I have had exchanges on reframing certain beliefs that we have about how we move and operate. And you kind of, in that instant, there's something that I heard not too long ago where like these ideas that are coming through you, it is coming through you. I think it was in the movie Big Magic. The woman who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. She was saying it's like we are containers in essence, and these ideas are coming through us. Okay, this may get a little woo-woo, but forgive me. But sorry, not sorry. But it's like this idea that's coming through you, and it's either you roll it out or it's going to find somewhere else for it to roll out. Point being is that entrepreneurs are wired to provide solutions to people's problems. So it wasn't a matter of you seeing like, oh, I'm taking in a way that where other people are suffering, you're taking. No. To your point, and credit and kudos to you for reframing it and saying, listen, this is actually providing a solution. This is providing help where there's pain. So that's exactly it. And I think this is so exciting. So, and I just heard that you're like really focused on this and this is what you're going to roll out. And how does that look like in terms of you rolling it out?
So we have been reaching out personally to people. I mean, that's the other thing. I saw somewhere, and it's really starting to take hold, where people said, no, this is about physical distancing, not social distancing.
And I love that.
I think that's right. It's really important. This word social distancing, we're all adopting into our language. That's not what it's about. Right. And so I have actually had, oh my gosh, maybe 6 video calls this week. I went on Friday, so 5 so far tomorrow. Whereas before I might have one every 2 weeks, right? Yeah. But I have been connecting with clients, subcontractors, and talking to them and asking them, where are you struggling? So the clients finding out, where are you struggling? If I were to have this idea and roll this out, what would you want? And they're more than happy to tell you because they're struggling, right? If you reach out to your clients and just ask them, and I'm just saying, I'm not trying to sell to them right now. Tell me what you need. Tell me where we can help. And then also reaching out to my employees and subcontractors saying, what can you provide for this? And right now, everybody, there's something about, there's something about these type of events that bring out the best in people. Yeah. They really do. As bad as everything is, and I get it. It's, I'm not a silver lining kind of person. I'm not a glass half full for sure. I'm like I am a, my glass. Yeah, whatever. And so, but I do see it. When I talk to people, I have subs or employees, who are so excited and they're saying, yes, no, I love this. What can I do? Where can I help? What can I provide? So rolling it out for us is really that getting on video calls. So here's the other thing. In the past, when I've sold something, a new service, we won a new contract with the Forest Service, I've always gone to their offices. So I'll do these big travel trips that are very logistically difficult because you're hitting 5 or 6 different Forest Service offices in 3 days or so.
Wow.
And you've got to time it. You've got your meeting set up. You've got to get the right people. Now I can meet with all of them on video call. So, I think you can't discount how much especially for those of us who have been working from home for a long time or are on the online world and don't meet with people, you can't forget what it's like for these people to go from going to an office with hundreds of people every day to working alone at their office like that. Like, it was a choice I made. It was something I wanted to do.
Exactly.
These people didn't want to.
Yeah.
They are used to water cooler conversations and people walking by their desk, minute after minute. And now they're alone. So I implore people, reach out to your clients. Just talk to them. I guarantee they're more likely now to talk.
I love that.
Might have normally been. So
I love that. I love that concept that you heard. I'm going to totally be using that. It's not social distance it's not social distancing. Yeah. It's, how did you say it? It's
physical distancing.
Physical distancing.
So in fact, we need social connection, right?
Even more, right?
Right. Yeah. And that is, and at Peak Science, our company, connection is our primary core value.
I love that.
It's all about connection. Because that's who I am. Like, you and I are friends, right? Like, I'm a hugger, right? Physical distancing is hard enough. It's all about connections. So I implore everybody, reach out, connect with people. That's how we'll be rolling it out. So, we're going to do the old fashioned calling people up, talking to them, asking what they need. How can we help? And letting them know our solutions.
I love it. It's so genius that this new offer is directly aligned with one of your key core values. Isn't that perfect when you really look at it that way?
It is. It is. And I think that's why I thought of it, right? So I think, I know I've read I've read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. Mm-hmm. And when I first read that book, I went searching for my why, and I tried all these crazy things I was grasping at, trying to come up with something that I thought was cool, like a really cool why. Yeah. And the funny part is, for most of us, that why is just sitting in front of us alone, right? Yeah. And mine was connection. Yeah. I've had mentors, as you've heard, say, "Oh, the thing about Nikole is her heart," And I was like, "Oh, I don't want my heart to be my thing. I want to be like tough and bad." And no, I'm not. So it is better just to embrace the thing that's right in front of you. But it was always about connection with me. And so I think sitting in those public meetings when nobody came, to me, I recognize that as a problem because my core value is connection. Like, you guys aren't connecting with your constituents. They're not feeling you. They're not showing up for you. You have to do this differently for them. So.
Oh, so good. I love it. It's going to be it is super successful. It's going to be super successful for that very reason, because it's so in alignment with what you stand for, as a business. Yeah. So it's genius. Okay. We're turning the corner. Person, place, or a thing. What are 3 things that inspire you?
Oh my goodness. Okay. 3.
Okay.
Well, I'll be so cheesy. So my first one is my children, for sure. Every decision, I started my company, 13 years ago, 15, because I had children and I knew it had to be different. I knew I couldn't go to work and I couldn't leave them all day, but I also knew that I wanted to make a living and have a career. I was, I had it all. I've been told I could have it all. So I was going to figure out a way to have it all. So my children, for sure, they are, I've said many times, when I grow up, I want to be just like my daughter, she's,
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I know. She's so tough. Oh my gosh, if I can't come up with 2 more things that inspire me, this will be the worst interview you've ever had. On that note, laughter. Oh my gosh, we have to laugh, and our family, like, sometimes it's not appropriate laughter, but you have to happiness and joy in every moment, because sometimes that's all we have, so we make a lot of jokes and we laugh a lot. So my family, laughter inspires me. Oh my gosh. Are you going to kill me if I can't come up with
No, how about connection? Like, that is just so paramount for you. right?
I know. See,
really
again, it is that ingrained one that's so ingrained that I never think about it, right? It's always the but we really are. I think everything that we do in our company and everything we do in our personal lives is really driven on that connection, whether it's family, friends. Yeah. Although when this is over, I am making more friends because I got to tell you, when you like go into the social, working at home and they cut everybody off and you realize your life isn't that much different. I got to get out more.
I love that meme.
When this is over, when this is over, I am going to spend a lot of time at home.
Okay, last question, which I think is even more, it's going to be a really interesting one. This is just a standard one that I ask at the end. Like, what would make this year a great year? Right? With everything going on. It's such an interesting question.
It is interesting. And I actually think, as much as I do feel fear and as much as I do, I worry about what's happening. I think that humans, we rise to the occasion every time, but we also get really stuck in the way that we do things, just like our clients. No, we're doing it this way. We've always done it this way. We don't want to try something new. But then something big happens to us and we have to change. Yeah. And you've seen it throughout history, right? It's always those big moments where we completely change the way we do things. I was thinking about this whole event, trying to wrap my head around it. And I was remembering that we went to Disneyland. We have Disneyland annual passes. Of course, the year that we get them is the pandemic year. And as you go into Disneyland, they check your purse, right? Or your bags.
Right.
And I always stand there and I know it. And I open my purse and I go through and it's no big deal. But I was thinking, before 9/11, they didn't do that.
Right.
9/11 happened and our lives changed overnight. It's just that now we've adapted to it. We don't even think about it being different. My kids don't know that there was a time you could meet people at the gate at the airport, right? Yeah. You could go to the gate to meet your people. And so I think that there will be big changes, and I think it's uncomfortable right now because change is, but in a few years, we won't remember it being any different. And I hope they're all good changes. I really do think that we're going to have to, that this is forcing us to step back. And so it would be a good year if when we all come out of this at the end of the year, if everybody's a little kinder, more compassionate, understanding. I think you'll see the divisiveness that's been in our country, not to get into politics, because I won't do that. I won't do that to you. But I think that will be less important. I think that it would be a good year if we all just, when we can all hug again, I think we will.
Oh, I love that. I know. I thought that too, because I'm a hugger for sure. And I'm just like, God, I hope we don't let go of that. I mean, culturally, I'm such a hugger. Like I can't not do it. So that's going to suck if we can't do that anymore. I'm like, what's that about? Okay. So how do people get in touch with you to find out more about your business? If this is sparking an idea of something that they want to implement too, how can people get a hold of you?
So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. So Nikole Winters Pearson, actually, on LinkedIn. I think I'm the only one out there. Nikole with a K. I do all of my connections there. I'm on there every day. I'm on there a lot every day. We have a business page on LinkedIn for Peak Science Communications. If you want to see more about what we're doing and how we're rolling this out, we'll be doing a lot of posts on that. And then, of course, our website at peaksci.com. And I would spell it, but all the letters sound the same. PEAK. See, I need to learn that. Papa, Echo, Alpha, something.
Oh, the military talk.
The military talk. And whenever I spell my website to people, they just stare at me because all PEA. Yeah. What was I thinking?
Well, here's the deal, though, but it'll be in the show notes. So you can grab that in the show notes, peaksci.com. Nikole Pearson, thank you so much for being on the Positioning to Profit show. You're so inspiring. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what happens here because I think this is a really great idea, very needed.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciated being able to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for checking out the Positioning to Profit podcast. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. And also, it would mean the world to me if you would take a quick moment to leave a rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast player. It really helps to get the word out about the podcast and, of course, the featured guests. And lastly, please make sure to connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them, and use hashtag positioning to profit so that I can search you out and connect that way too. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.